Oh boy. Watch this to make your wife fall madly in love again.
Consummate confidence that lasts forever. Get her to open up two wrong problems that 80% of men focus on. Physical intimacy is a final result of all the other previous needs being met. Getting mad at a mirror because you don't like what it's showing you. You see what I mean? What the problem is not her. If you can look back at all the reasons why she's leaving you, or the complaints she's had, or all the criticisms, it all leads back to a lack of making this woman feel safe with you.
Let's talk about that. Divorce, or even the potential for it, is very scary. And when men's marriages are falling apart, he's not typically in a calm, rational, emotional state. Often those guys are not sleeping, they're losing weight from lack of appetite, they can't concentrate at work, and they're desperately trying to figure out how to fix it all. It's not unlikely that he starts replaying every conversation in his head. He's wondering if he's about to lose his family and his home. And he's also wondering what people are saying about him behind his back. So to get resolution and their wives back, some guys go looking for answers out of fear. Enter Josh Hudson. Josh appears to be a real licensed marriage and family therapist. The California Board of Behavioral Sciences, in their records, they appear to match Joshua Eric Hudson, license number 107835, listed as current in San Diego, California through July 31, 2026. Josh's website identifies him as a licensed marriage and family therapist, but unlike other coaches on the site, by the way, he's the leader of this group, his profile does not list any therapeutic knowledge or approach, such as Jungian or existential psychotherapy. Josh's LinkedIn page, from what I found, is nearly entirely promotional. It shows his marriage reset services, which we'll get to in just a moment. It shows YouTube links, free training links, and posts that are pushing the same core offer. But what it does not include is his education, his work history, or a professional trail that at least I would expect from somebody with clinical authority. Again, such as education, degree locations or universities or dates, no clinical internship, no license number, no supervision history, or any type of a professional resume. Nothing. Now, I realize that Josh's decision to not include that information on LinkedIn does not demonstrate anything shady, but we'll get back to that. What it does tell us is how Josh's public identity is built. This is not a LinkedIn profile that helps verify a professional licensed therapist. There's a lot missing from it. It's a profile designed to sell something. It's a funnel. And while on LinkedIn, Josh is posting about his services for divorced to be men. Much of it directs back to YouTube. So let's go there. Let's go to YouTube to see what Josh has going on there. And then we'll begin to look into and take a dive into his services and his client testimonies. Here's a look at Josh's recent videos. I reviewed one from just a few days ago, which actually turned out to be nothing more than a front-loaded sales funnel. Sure, the titles and thumbnails are packaged as if they give answers or some type of help for men, but it's all really just a call to action. Now, I'm not going to make you suffer by watching much of the video, but I'll show a couple of very short clips as examples. In this video that was less than 11 minutes long, Josh made approximately 42 absolute or categorical framing statements, such as have to, always, exact actions, one real problem, and it doesn't matter.
Exact true problems in marriages transform all of your anxiety any moment you want to. The real cause will come next, and then what you can do about it starting today. It doesn't lead to the life that you want to live.
That's more than 4 times per minute that Josh puts everything into absolute black and white terms as a way to imply authority. Additionally, he makes 12 promotional or funnel-related mentions that I counted. That's more than once per minute. These included statements like buying his services, getting free resources, or contacting somebody to set up a phone call.
Set up a call with our team down below, or you set up a call with our team down below. Another resource I'm going to give you at the end of this video, and they'll say you set up a call with our team down below. No, truly.
It's basically an 11-minute sales pitch that builds fear. It also, according to him, nearly guarantees results and directly leads to giving him money. And just like the first John Deloney video that I exposed several months ago, Josh's approach is to tell men that they are the problem and they need to fix everything to get their wives back.
Whether it was raising your voice, it was ignoring her, it was getting tense in your body, dismissing her feelings, being inconsistent with what you wanted, going back and forth. You don't own up to your behavior. All of the things that push her away are essentially that you chose fear and protection over going toward her in openness and love.
And this is where messages like those from Josh Hudson and John Deloney become dangerous, because there is a very important discrepancy between offering a man help and telling him, directly or indirectly, that his wife's withdrawal and her intent to divorce can be turned around if he just applies the right standardized method and fights to get her back. That's the problem with this type of content. According to Josh, men are positioned as the ones who caused the marriage or relationship to fail. Consistently in the video that I watched, Josh describes women's distance as men's failures, like lack of emotional safety and his communication mistakes. So because of his failures, the guy therefore needs to look inward and make changes. He's got to go get his wife back. But just like with Deloney, there's no mention of wives adjusting their behaviors. Nothing about their communication, their expectations, or understanding the husband to help repair the relationship or the marriage. Nothing. Nada. Zip. Apparently, all she has to do is check out, withhold sex, or threaten to file divorce, and you're supposed to pay Josh, getting the two mixed up. You're supposed to pay Josh to help get her back so she won't actually leave, or so that she'll stop having sex with other men. She checks out, and you have to change. Listen, at some point, this is no longer about lack of accountability from women in marriages, but rather turning into new age masculinity puddles of emotional mud. This bullshit works in rom-coms. It's heroic if the background music hits at the right moment and the script brings the female character to tears out of hope and joy. But in real life, chasing a wife who has already screwed the neighbor or says that she's filing for divorce violates so many principles of behavioral and developmental psychology that it would take me hours to go through them. But what she'll likely learn is that if she calls an attorney, you will escalate your pursuit. And once that dynamic is established, the relationship does not become healthier or stronger. All too often, it destroys men's confidence and leaves them far worse off, especially if it doesn't work. So let's actually have a look at that now. Does Josh's system for getting a wife back actually work? This is Marriage Reset. It's Josh Hudson's marriage coaching brand for men whose wives are checked out or considering divorce. His pitch is that men can save their marriages, and do it quickly, without a begging, convincing, or repeatedly talking through problems. It's presented as an alternative to traditional therapy, with language around men rebuilding trust, reigniting attraction, restoring emotional and physical connection, and becoming a stronger masculine leader in the relationship. The website lists programs such as marriage coaching and one-on-one executive coaching. And it pushes viewers toward training, consultation calls, and the Marriage Reset team, rather than simply offering general relationship education. And Josh's marketing relies heavily on quick turnaround testimonials with social proof. For example, client stories highlight things like this. Wives allegedly stopping divorce proceedings after several weeks. Wives returning after accepting another man's proposal. Wives blocking other men and moving back in or re-engaging sexually and emotionally after having been checked out of the relationship, the marriage. And how about the testimonials? Many of them faceless. A whole bunch saying that after giving Josh and his team money, their cheating wife came back. She stopped the lawyers, and she decided to move back into the house. All within a handful of weeks. Now, I've been doing this for a long time. I am very familiar with counseling and therapy outcomes when women cheat or say that they're finished. Those kinds of outcomes simply are not typical at all. Now, I'm not saying that they can't happen, but I will say that I find it extremely and overwhelmingly difficult to believe. So I got to look a little closer and check this out. Using Google's image finder, I took these pictures from Josh's website testimonials and, yep, you guessed it, very likely fake. One of the testimonials presented as Jason claiming his wife accepted a proposal from another man, then blocked that new fiancé, and returned to Jason weeks later. But the image for so-called Jason appears online as Tom Ernsting, I believe it is, a completely different individual. It seems that this Tom is a professional model, and there have been issues with his images used in romance scams. Another testimonial is presented as Nate, describing a withdrawn divorce request, but the image appears to match Paul Kenny, a PhD and a neuroscientist. Now, in both cases, the name and the photo are different from publicly available identities. And believe me, listen, I understand that I did not use or find the exact same pictures. So just as a disclaimer, I'd say that the confidence here is very high, but not absolute. Of course, Google's images tools, they are pretty accurate when linking widely used public photos, especially for public figures. So there's strong evidence that the photos are not the original clients, but not guaranteed. But I did take this one step further, just to be safe, and I took it to Trustpilot reviews. Most of the 60 most recent reviews, of those, 58 were 5-star reviews, 1 was a 4-star review, and 1 was a 1-star review. 44 of the 60 reviewers appeared to have only 1 Trustpilot review. This is the only review that they've ever left on that website. Now, that part isn't necessarily inevitably suspicious by any means, but for a paid program with emotionally intense outcomes, at least for me, I would think that a review page dominated by first-time reviewers and near universal praise should be treated as limited evidence, not strong proof that they're real or that the program works. But here's one that I found to be interesting. The single 1-star review checks out what already concerned me. The guy says that the free phone session felt less like help and more like being screened. He says, and I'm quoting here, it was a one-trick pony. Says they wanted to weed him out with questions about cost and is he actually going to take responsibility? Now, if true, that supports my belief that the free call that Josh offers in his videos may function more as a sales qualification than anything else. I could go into more, but you get the idea. Now, that aside, before even learning about the likely fake reviews and testimonials, my biggest concern was that this was simply fear-mongering to get guys to shell out their hard-earned money for a likely useless service. That's still a concern, but not as big as the potential identity theft and making up people and their experiences. But back to that, I see this as the professional targeting of potential clients, much like ambulance chasing and those attorneys. Find someone in crisis and sell them something. Josh's videos tell guys that they're focused on the wrong problem. He tells them that therapy probably won't work. And he contends that he has a nearly guaranteed answer that will get wives back in just a few weeks. And then the pressure is applied to men's vulnerable and emotional states. What I want to help guys understand is that apparent frauds like Josh and his marriage reset, even John Deloney for that matter, they may feel like they're giving hope at a time when it's desperately needed and it seems like there's no one there to help or no one cares. But the truth is that it's not uncommon for those services and providers to see emotionally volatile men as targets of their wives checking out or possibly becoming involved with another guy. That's emotional stuff. It's predatory and it's very unfortunate. It's a time when men are scared, possibly ashamed, and looking for a way to stop the bleeding. So the Joshes tell them that the real problem is himself. You can control this. And while it may feel like hope and an opportunity to make life improvements, too many times it's nothing more than grifting from bullshit artists who want nothing more than your money, and then they want to make you go away. So my warning, before paying for marriage-saving programs, especially ones that are expensive, urgent, and promising seemingly unrealistic testimonials, slow down. Ask what the service actually is. Is it therapy? Is it coaching? Is it some form of sales-driven personal development? Ask for verifiable credentials and where they got their degrees. Ask about their clinical approach, their research, and their training, internships, for example. In fact, dozens of guys have downloaded my Therapy Literacy for Men guide, which helps to do all of those things. Check it out in the description if you want. And don't worry, I've never emailed or otherwise contacted anyone who downloaded a copy of this. That's not my goal. My goal is just to help men be educated when they do go looking for help. Always remember that a wife filing for divorce is not proof that you failed as a husband. Her having an affair is not evidence that you failed to create enough emotional safety. Sometimes women are just nasty and there's nothing you can do to stop them from leaving. Not everyone shares my belief, but having lived it myself, chasing a wife who has who has already cheated and checked out is not masculine, noble, or mentally healthy. Sometimes it simply means that it's time to let her do whatever she wants while you start your own rebuilding. Thanks for sticking around to the end. Be careful out there, guys. I'll be back soon.